Every time life tested you, someone else was secretly watching to see if you would break or reveal what you were truly made of. That's the strange thing about being a chosen one. People don't study you because they care. They study you because they suspect something about you they can't quite name. They feel your energy before they understand it, and they underestimate you before they realize they've made a dangerous miscalculation. And the funniest part? Half the people who tried to test your spirit had no clue they were stepping into an exam they weren't qualified to take. Here's a fact most people don't know. Humans assess each other's strength within the first 7 seconds of meeting. But spiritual strength takes months or years for them to even detect. And when they finally do, they usually discover it the hard way, by crossing someone they should have respected from the start. That's when they realize your spirit isn't just strong. It has a rank, a weight, a presence that silently governs the room even when you say nothing. And yes, it always gets exposed when someone gets bold enough to test you. People walked into your life thinking they could size you up like everyone else. They expected typical reactions, predictable emotions, easy buttons to push. But you don't respond like the average person because you aren't wired like the average person. You respond like someone who carries experience, intuition, protection, and divine insight all sitting behind your eyes. You respond like someone whose spirit has fought battles long before your enemies ever had the courage to challenge you. And that's exactly why they were shocked. What they tried to provoke in you didn't show up. What they tried to manipulate didn't move. What they tried to control slipped right out of their hands. The moment someone realized their usual tricks didn't work on you was the moment they understood your spiritual rank outruns their intentions. That's when the confusion hit their spirit before it hit their face. So in this video, we're diving deep, past the surface level explanations, past the polite definitions, and straight into the truth. People didn't know your spiritual rank until they tested it, and the results humbled them more than they expected. And don't worry, we'll sprinkle a bit of humor here and there, because honestly, looking back, some of these people had no business trying you in the first place. They walked in with confidence and walked out with clarity. Let's get into it. Number 1. They thought your spirit was lightweight until their energy collided with it. People always assume they can size you up by surface-level observations, by what they see, hear, or think they know about you. They look at your calm demeanor, your measured movements, or the fact that you don't constantly broadcast your presence, and they convince themselves you're soft, flexible, and easily influenced. They believe your quiet nature equals weakness, that your patience is passivity, that your humility is ignorance. And that's exactly why they test you. They think they're stepping into a contest they can win without even trying. But the moment they bring their energy close to yours, everything changes. They don't even know it yet, but their aura, their intent, their inner vibrations start interacting with yours in ways they never expected. Their assumptions and projections meet your reality head-on, and the result is unavoidable. Your spirit isn't just a shield or a wall. It's a force field that measures, reacts, and reflects every ounce of energy it encounters. Their push, their manipulation, their tests, suddenly, all of it hits an invisible barrier they didn't see coming. And the shock of that barrier shatters the false confidence they walked in with. The collision doesn't just expose their limitations, it exposes the depth of your power. It's in the way their strategies fail, the way their intentions backfire, the way their hidden insecurities leap to the surface when they realize you weren't acting. You were simply being. They begin to understand that your quietness was never emptiness, your patience never fragility, your restraint never ignorance. Your spirit operates on a level that's not measured by force, noise, or aggression. It's measured by integrity, awareness, and a presence that cannot be bent to someone else's will. And that's when they start recalculating everything. The ones who thought they could test you, influence you, or intimidate you now see clearly that your spirit is not just strong. It's built to withstand, absorb, and neutralize attempts to shake it. Every energy they projected into you returned in a lesson for them. Never underestimate the quiet ones, never misjudge the patient, and never assume a spirit that doesn't scream is weak. They learned the hard way that your rank is innate, unapologetic, and unshakable. Number 2, your presence forced them to confront their hidden weaknesses. When people first encounter you, they rarely see the full picture of your spirit. They see someone calm, composed, maybe even approachable, and they assume there's nothing threatening there. But the moment they try to test you, manipulate you, or push your boundaries, your presence does something unexpected. It forces them to confront parts of themselves they've been hiding, denying, or ignoring. Suddenly, their confidence falters, their bravado cracks, and their carefully constructed image starts to crumble. Your spirit acts like a mirror, not a weapon, reflecting back their flaws in a way they cannot avoid. They realize the arrogance they carried into your space, thinking they could influence you or take advantage of your kindness, was misplaced. Their pride becomes transparent because your energy doesn't allow deception to hide for long. Their manipulations, their lies, their attempts to gauge your reaction, everything reveals more about their insecurities than it does about you. And the moment they recognize that, fear, embarrassment, or even grudging respect begins to rise. They never expected someone to hold that kind of power just by existing and staying grounded in themselves. What makes this confrontation so powerful is that it doesn't require you to do anything dramatic. You don't argue, you don't lash out, and you don't humiliate them. You simply are. Your presence alone exposes the cracks in their armor because it demands authenticity. People who tried to play games with you suddenly see that their control is an illusion, that their dominance is fragile, and that their attempts to test you have only revealed their weaknesses. By simply standing in your truth, by simply moving through life with integrity, patience, and discernment, you create an environment where others are forced to face the parts of themselves they'd rather ignore. And in that moment, when they realize they are unprepared for someone like you, they begin to see clearly. Their hidden weaknesses aren't small. They are the reason they underestimated your spiritual rank in the first place. Your presence isn't just a reflection, it's a reckoning, and it changes how they see themselves forever. Number 3, they realized you weren't reacting, you were discernment checking them. Many people mistake calmness for confusion or weakness, and that's exactly the misjudgment they make when they encounter you. They think that because you don't jump at every provocation, because you don't respond immediately to their games or manipulation, you are slow, unaware, or somehow ordinary. What they fail to see is that your stillness isn't a delay, it's a process. You are not reacting, you are observing, assessing, and measuring the true nature of the energy they bring into your space. Your silence and patience are not empty spaces, they are tools of discernment, quietly revealing what they are really made of. When they realize this, it shocks them. Every attempt they made to control, provoke, or intimidate you falls flat because you've already processed it. They begin to understand that their intentions, which once seemed so clever, are now fully visible to you. You see not just their actions, but their motives, their insecurities, and their strategies. You understand their patterns before they even recognize them themselves. That realization rattles them, because they assumed spiritual authority or power is always loud, flashy, or reactive. They didn't know your rank operates from observation, awareness, and a quiet but unshakable judgment. Your discernment forces them to confront a truth they've avoided. Influence isn't about who shouts the loudest or pushes the hardest. Influence is about perception, control over self, and the ability to read the currents of intention before anyone else even notices them. They expected you to be moved by their tactics, yet nothing stirs you because you aren't participating in the game. They are. And the deeper they try to push, the clearer it becomes. They walked in expecting a reaction and left realizing they were the ones being studied, analyzed, and understood at levels they cannot comprehend. The moment they recognize this is the moment your spiritual rank becomes undeniable. Their shock isn't just about what you are, it's about what they are not. You are patient, strategic, and unshakable, and your discernment alone is enough to expose, nullify, and outclass their intentions. They tried to test you, but the truth is you were always the one quietly checking them from the start. Number 4. Their attacks only highlighted how protected you are. People who underestimated you believed you were standing alone. They thought you had no support, no backup, no spiritual covering. That's why they tested you so boldly, because they assumed you were an easy target. They expected their negativity, their manipulation, or their subtle attacks to land directly on you. But what shocked them was how everything they sent your way either dissolved before it reached you, or somehow circled right back to them. Their own actions exposed the truth. You're not just strong, you're protected in ways that defy their understanding. Every attempt they made to disrupt your peace ended up disrupting theirs. Every plan they initiated to break you ended up breaking their confidence. Every scheme designed to embarrass you ended up highlighting their character instead. It wasn't that you fought harder, it's that you didn't have to. The things that were meant to hurt you simply refused to stick. And when people see that, confusion hits them first, then fear, then respect. They start asking themselves questions they never asked before. Why doesn't anything affect this person? Why does everything backfire? Why does life keep defending them? What they don't understand is that your spirit isn't walking through life unarmed. You carry an unseen protection. Call it grace, favor, spiritual insurance, ancestral covering, divine alignment, whatever resonates with you. But it's real, and it's active. You may not brag about it, you may not talk about it, you may not even fully understand the extent of it, but others feel it when they run into it. And the moment their attacks start falling apart, they realize they crossed someone whose battles aren't fought alone. Their biggest shock comes from seeing how effortlessly you rise after every attempt. They expected you to crumble, retreat, or turn bitter. Instead, you remained steady, composed, and even more aligned. That type of resilience can't be faked and can't be explained in human terms. It's the kind of protection that makes people rethink their entire approach to you. When your enemies discover your rank, they usually discover your protection at the same time. And that's the moment they understand they were never fighting just you. They were fighting the force that stands with you, and that's a battle they can never win. Number 5. Your reaction time exposed their entire battle plan. People who tested you assumed you were predictable. They believed they could manipulate your emotions, drag you into unnecessary drama, or provoke certain reactions at the exact pace they wanted. They expected you to respond like everyone else, slowly, blindly, or with panic. But the moment they tried anything, you sensed it instantly. Your spirit picked up on the shift long before the situation became obvious, and that alone exposed everything they were planning. You weren't reacting emotionally. You were reading the pattern behind their behavior. And when someone's pattern becomes clear, their entire plan becomes meaningless. Your intuition works faster than their strategy. You catch subtleties, tones, changes in energy, quiet shifts in behavior, inconsistencies in their words, things they never expect you to pay attention to. They may rehearse their tactics, but your spirit catches the cracks in their intentions before they even execute them. And when they see how quickly you adjust, how easily you remove yourself, or how calmly you cut through manipulation, they realize you're operating from a higher awareness. You're not guessing, you're perceiving. You're not suspicious, you're spiritually alert. What scares them most is how accurate you are. You don't accuse anyone, you don't make a scene, you don't chase explanations, but you move differently with them, and it exposes everything they thought they were hiding. When you shift your energy, step back, protect yourself or change direction, it shows that you understood their intention before they actually acted on it. They expected confusion, but you gave them clarity. They expected delay, but you gave them precision. They expected vulnerability, but you showed them insight. This is the moment their confidence collapses, because if you can read the early signs of their manipulation, you can dismantle the entire plan. They realize they're playing a game they can't win, because you see in layers while they move in straight lines. And once someone recognizes that you can detect their schemes before they materialize, they also recognize your spiritual rank is far beyond anything they imagined. You're not surviving their attacks, you're outmaneuvering them before they even begin. Number 6, their manipulation lost power. Because you don't operate from ego. One of the biggest shocks people experience when they test you is realizing that the tricks they use on everyone else simply don't work on you. Most manipulation relies on targeting a person's ego, making them jealous, making them insecure, making them feel left out, making them desperate for approval, or making them react emotionally. These tactics work on people who need validation, attention, or control. But you don't operate from that space. Your decisions don't come from a wounded ego, they come from a grounded spirit. And when someone tries to manipulate a person who is spiritually anchored, their usual methods lose all their power. They try to bait you with compliments to see if you'll depend on their praise. You don't. They try to withhold attention to see if you'll chase it. You won't. They try to provoke jealousy to see if you'll react. You stay unbothered. They try to question your worth to see if you'll crumble. You remain centered. This is the moment they realize they misjudged you entirely. You don't respond from insecurity. You don't respond from fear. You don't respond from the need to prove anything. You respond from clarity. And clarity destroys manipulation instantly, because manipulation only works in the dark, on people who lack self-awareness. What unsettles them most is how effortlessly you detach from situations meant to trap you. You don't get caught in emotional loops. You don't fall for performative affection. You don't react to threats coated in charm or false closeness. You read the energy behind the act, not the performance in front of it. And that makes every manipulative move crumble before it can even touch you. Your spiritual rank is revealed through your stability. You're not controlled by flattery or intimidation, because your value doesn't depend on external validation. And when someone realizes that nothing they do, good or bad, can sway your sense of self, they understand they're dealing with someone they can't play with. They see that their power dissolves in your presence, and that's when the truth hits them. Manipulation cannot survive around someone who doesn't feed their ego, because that person is already operating from a higher spiritual level. Number 7. They saw that you can carry pain without turning poisonous. One of the clearest signs of your spiritual rank is how you handle pain. Most people become bitter, angry, or destructive when they're hurt. They start projecting their frustration onto others, creating chaos because they can't control what's happening inside themselves. But when life hit you, you didn't become toxic. You became wiser. You didn't turn on people. You turned inward and grew. And that alone exposed a strength in you that many people didn't expect. Pain didn't twist you. It refined you. Those who tested you thought your struggles would make you weak or desperate. They assumed pain would cloud your judgment or lower your standards. They expected you to lash out, to break down, or to become reckless. Instead, your pain became a filter. It made you more discerning about who deserves your energy. It made you more intentional about your boundaries. It made you more independent, more spiritually aware, and more emotionally intelligent. That level of transformation is something people can't fake, and the ones who watched you go through it realized they were dealing with a person whose resilience came from a deeper place. What shocked them even more was the compassion you still carried. Your pain didn't make you cruel. It didn't make you vengeful. You didn't go around trying to hurt people because you were hurting. You showed empathy even when you were exhausted. You showed patience even when you had every reason to give up on humanity. That kind of emotional maturity unsettles people who rely on chaos to feel powerful. They can't understand how someone can suffer and still show love, still think clearly, still rise above negativity without becoming hardened. Your ability to carry pain without becoming poisonous reveals the kind of person you truly are. Someone who is spiritually fortified. You don't collapse under pressure, and you don't poison others to relieve your own discomfort. That alone made people rethink everything they assumed about you. They realized your spirit doesn't just survive storms, it transforms through them. And anyone who sees that up close immediately understands. This isn't an ordinary soul. This is someone whose spirit has rank, depth, and purpose that pain could not destroy. Number 8. Your growth outpaced. Their ability to keep up. What truly stunned people who tested you was noticing how fast you evolve. They approached you assuming you were stuck in an old version of yourself. Maybe a quieter version, a gentler version, or a less confident version. They believed you were frozen in time while they had advanced in experience, knowledge, or emotional strength. But when they tried to test you, they realized something they weren't prepared for. You grow faster than they can predict. The person they thought they were dealing with wasn't the person who showed up. You had already outgrown their assumptions long before they even tried to challenge you. Your growth isn't loud or performative. You don't announce your changes, you embody them. Every lesson you've survived becomes a tool, every setback becomes insight, and every loss becomes a stepping stone. You transform quietly but powerfully, and by the time people think they've figured you out, you've already stepped into a wiser, sharper, more spiritually aligned version of yourself. This rapid evolution throws people off because they rely on predictability to manipulate or control others. When someone can't predict you, they can't play you. What shocked them even more is how effortlessly you adapt. You don't cling to outdated mindsets, habits, or identities. You don't stay in spaces that drain you or relationships that shrink you. You shed old versions of yourself with honesty and grace, even when it's uncomfortable. That level of growth is rare, and it exposes people who are stagnant, those who talk about changing but never actually do the work. Standing next to you makes their lack of progress painfully obvious. And this is where the testing usually backfires. When they try to bring up your past, it no longer fits you. When they try to push old buttons, those buttons don't exist anymore. When they try to guess your responses, they end up wrong every time. They're dealing with someone who evolves spiritually, mentally, and emotionally at a pace they cannot match. Your growth reveals your spiritual rank because it shows you're not attached to who you were. You're loyal to who you're becoming. And once people see they can't keep up with you, they finally understand why testing you was a mistake from the start. Number 9, you don't fight for attention. Attention naturally moves toward you. One of the things that shocked people when they tried to test you is how naturally attention gravitates toward you without you trying. They expected you to compete, to chase validation, to prove yourself, or to fight for space the way many people do. But you don't operate like that. You don't scramble to be seen, you don't beg for recognition, and you don't force yourself into conversations or circles. Your presence, your authenticity, and your energy do the work for you. And the very people who thought they could dim your light ended up realizing they couldn't ignore you even if they tried. This is where your spiritual rank becomes clear. You move through life centered, grounded, and fully connected to who you are. You don't need attention to feel valuable. You carry value within you. And ironically, that's exactly why people turn their heads when you walk into a room. Your confidence doesn't come from being noticed. It comes from being aligned. That kind of presence is rare, and people naturally gravitate toward it because it feels solid, real, and refreshing. Even your silence carries more weight than most people's loudness, not because you're trying to make a statement, but because your spirit speaks before your mouth does. When someone tries to test you, maybe by ignoring you, excluding you, or trying to make you feel invisible, they end up discovering the opposite effect. The more they try to downplay you, the more people seem to observe you, admire you, or feel drawn to your energy. They can't understand why you stand out even when you're not trying, why people respect you without being asked, or why your presence feels more influential than their efforts. That's the spiritual rank they weren't aware of. It's not about popularity or attention. It's about the magnetic pull of authenticity. Your spirit has its own gravity, and the moment they realized that they couldn't rob you of attention because you weren't dependent on it, they understood the truth. They were dealing with someone who doesn't chase validation because they already carry a natural authority that others can't replicate. Number 10. They study you to understand themselves. One thing people will never admit out loud is how much of their identity is built off quietly observing you. They won't tell you that your presence makes them confront parts of themselves they've ignored for years. Instead, they watch you from a distance, taking notes on your decisions, your attitude, your resilience, and even your mistakes. They're not just curious about you. They're trying to decode why you move the way you do. It's uncomfortable for them to admit they admire someone they once underestimated, so they turn their admiration into silent data collection. They study your growth because it exposes the areas where they're stagnant. What they see in you isn't just strength, it's clarity. You move with intention even when life hits you hard. You don't crumble the way they expected. You don't beg for acceptance. You don't panic when things fall apart. That kind of emotional steadiness forces people to analyze their own instability. They start questioning why they react the way they do, why their confidence disappears under pressure, why they haven't healed from wounds you've already walked through. Your existence becomes a mirror they can't escape, showing them who they are and who they could be if they stopped running from themselves. People who once dismissed you are now quietly adjusting their lives based on what they see in yours. They copy your patience, your independence, your discipline, even your boundaries. They start applying your mindset to their own problems. They imitate your emotional maturity, hoping it will give them the courage you naturally carry. And the strange part is that half the time, you don't even know you're teaching anyone anything. You're just living, but others feel like they're in a classroom every time you move. This is why some people keep their distance, not because they dislike you, but because they're trying to process the uncomfortable truth that you've become their silent guide. They're learning from you without ever acknowledging it, because admitting it would mean accepting their own lack of direction. But whether they say it or not, your life has become the blueprint they wish they had the courage to follow. Number 11. Your absence teaches them what your presence was really worth. People rarely realize your value when they have full access to you. They get used to your energy, your support, your wisdom, your calmness, your consistency. They assume it's normal because you never bragged, never demanded applause, never tried to convince anyone that you mattered. You simply showed up for people in ways they couldn't show up for themselves. And the strange thing about human nature is that it often takes losing something before people finally recognize what they had. That's exactly what happens with you. When you step back, quietly, without drama, they begin to feel the shift immediately. At first, they don't want to admit that anything changed, but they can feel the gap. The conversations are emptier. The circles they run to don't feel as honest or grounding. The people they replaced you with don't carry the same genuine spirit. The advice they once got from you turns into confusion when they try to figure things out on their own. Your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was, because now they have nothing to compare it to. Suddenly, the peace you brought makes sense. The stability you offered becomes clear. The comfort of simply knowing you were there, even when they didn't appreciate it, starts hitting them in ways they didn't expect. That's when the admiration grows. Quietly. Internally. In a way they don't want you to know about, because admitting it would mean confessing they took you for granted. Your absence exposes the real depth of your worth. It shows them that you weren't just around, you were actually holding parts of their life together in ways they thought were insignificant. Now they understand the weight you carried, the emotional support you gave, the strength you shared without asking for anything in return. They see how different the atmosphere feels when your spirit is no longer nearby. And that's the part that shocks them. You didn't have to do anything spectacular. Simply removing yourself made the truth clear. They realize you weren't ordinary, you weren't replaceable, you weren't just another person in the background. You were a gift they misread until it was gone. Number 12. People who once doubted you are now depending on the strength they mocked. There's a strange shift that happens when a chosen one grows into their own power. The very people who once laughed at your dreams, questioned your abilities, or picked apart your personality suddenly find themselves leaning on the same qualities they tried to break. It's almost ironic how life brings everything full circle. How people who underestimated you now need the strength they dismissed. And this isn't because they suddenly became humble. It's because reality finally exposed who was genuinely built for endurance and who was pretending. When things fall apart in people's lives, they start looking for someone who isn't easily shaken. Someone who has survived things they couldn't handle. Someone with emotional stability, spiritual awareness, and a level of maturity that doesn't crumble under pressure. Without even trying, you became that person. You didn't force anyone to see your value. Life did the work for you. The strength you built during your silent battles, the resilience you formed in seasons where no one helped you, and the wisdom you gained through pain, all of it turned you into the person people now depend on. What shocks them most is that you didn't change who you were. You simply grew into who you were supposed to be. The difference is, they're now seeing the layers they ignored because they were too busy judging the surface. They realize the reason you stayed calm wasn't because you were weak, but because you were thinking 3 steps ahead. They understand now that your quietness wasn't insecurity. It was emotional intelligence. They recognize that the confidence you carried didn't appear out of nowhere. It was earned, tested, and sharpened through real-life trials they couldn't survive. And it becomes clear, the strength they mocked was never the weakness they assumed. It was the foundation of everything that makes you powerful today. Now they come to you for advice, comfort, clarity, or direction. Not because they suddenly became supportive, but because they can't find in anyone else what naturally exists in you. Their dependency is proof of your growth and their misjudgment. Number 13. Your energy exposes the games they hoped you'd never notice. One of the most surprising things about growing into your spiritual rank is realizing just how much people were counting on your confusion. They weren't intimidated by your presence at first. They were intimidated by the possibility that one day you'd truly see what was happening around you. Your awareness was their biggest fear, not your kindness. And the moment your eyes opened, every trick, every manipulation, every hidden intention became painfully obvious. You didn't need proof or confrontation. Your energy picked up what their mouths were trying to hide. People who once felt confident playing with you started getting uncomfortable without you saying a word. It wasn't because you were acting different. It was because they could feel you suddenly reading the room with clarity. Your spiritual sensitivity heightened, and you no longer gave people the benefit of the doubt just because you had a good heart. The shift happened quietly. Your spirit stopped responding to their bait. Your patience stopped covering their agendas, and your intuition stopped ignoring the red flags they were trying to camouflage. They weren't prepared for that. They expected you to stay trusting, naive, and forgiving to the point of self-damage. They thought your empathy made you easy to manipulate. They assumed your humility meant you didn't notice patterns. But the truth is, you always sensed something was off. You just weren't ready to call it out. And once you grew into your maturity and gained spiritual clarity, their games became too transparent to even entertain. The part that unsettles them the most is that you didn't become confrontational. You simply became unavailable. You stopped reacting the way they expected. You no longer fed their ego, validated their insecurities, or played along with their scripted behavior. The same people who tried to hide their motives now feel exposed, without you ever raising your voice. Your energy did the talking. Your spirit decoded their intentions. Your growth dismantled their strategy. And the most unexpected reality for them is this: you didn't change the game. They just finally realized you were never playing one. Number 14. Your silence wasn't weakness. It was the graduation ceremony for their karma. When people tried to test you, they expected noise, chaos, or a reaction. They assumed that if they pushed, provoked, or manipulated, you would respond the way everyone else does, lashing out, defending yourself, or losing control. What they didn't expect was that your silence would be the most powerful response of all. Your quiet wasn't emptiness or passivity. It was a clear message that they were witnessing the consequences of their own energy without even realizing it. In your stillness, the universe stepped in and delivered lessons they weren't ready for. Your silence became a mirror, reflecting the intentions and actions of everyone who tried to manipulate or undermine you. Every attempt to provoke you, every strategy to control you, every negative thought directed at you bounced back to its source, not through confrontation, but through the natural balance your presence maintained. People began to feel the weight of their choices in real time. They realized that while they were testing you, it was actually their own character being examined, and the results weren't flattering. What makes this even more shocking for them is that they can feel it, but they can't control it. You didn't have to explain yourself, justify your decisions, or make a scene. You didn't have to fight, argue, or plead. Your silence let the consequences speak for themselves. They watched their own schemes collapse quietly, and they had no one to blame but themselves. Every lesson they learned in your absence, every regret that surfaced, and every realization of how wrong they were came from the energy they themselves had put into the world. This is the essence of your spiritual rank, the ability to let life and energy handle justice without dragging yourself into unnecessary conflict. Your silence isn't weakness, it's authority. It's the invisible force that separates someone spiritually aligned from someone ordinary. The moment they understood this, they realized they had misjudged you completely. What they thought would be their victory turned into their reckoning. And in that quiet, unassuming way, they finally saw the truth. Testing you was never about challenging you. It was about graduating from their own karma, and you were the doorway. The truth about being a chosen one is that your spiritual rank isn't something people can measure at first glance. It doesn't announce itself with noise or chaos. It doesn't demand recognition, and it doesn't bow to anyone's expectations. The real proof of your power, your presence, and your authority only becomes clear when someone tries to test it, and they inevitably discover they were unprepared. Every interaction, every challenge, every attempt to manipulate or provoke you serves as a revelation of your depth, your discernment, and your unshakable foundation. Your calm isn't confusion, it's wisdom. Your silence isn't weakness, it's authority. Your resilience isn't luck, it's the product of a spirit that has endured, grown, and evolved far beyond what most people can comprehend. From people underestimating your strength to witnessing your patience transform pain into growth, from the way your presence quietly exposes hidden intentions to the invisible protection surrounding you, every aspect of who you are speaks volumes without needing to shout. Those who doubted you, tested you, or tried to influence you are forced to confront their own limitations, their insecurities, and their lack of preparation. Your energy, your growth, your discernment, and your unwavering self-respect become lessons they cannot ignore. And in every one of these moments, it's not just your spirit that rises, it's your rank, your authority, and the natural alignment of your life with purpose and clarity. Being a chosen one isn't about being understood. It's about existing with integrity, wisdom, and power that others can't manipulate or misread. It's about letting your life speak louder than any argument, your energy act louder than any confrontation, and your presence command respect even when no one notices at first. Those who test you quickly learn that your strength is more than physical or emotional. It's spiritual, unshakable, and timeless. And when that realization hits, it's a lesson they'll never forget. If this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video that empowers your spirit and expands your awareness. Like this video if it opened your eyes to the hidden strength you carry. Comment below to share your experiences or revelations. And don't forget to share this with someone who needs to understand the truth about being unstoppable, unshakable, and spiritually untouchable. Your journey matters, and your power deserves recognition. God bless you.